What if Yoda followed Dooku to Sidious' lair in Tales of the Jedi? That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy this one, and let's get right into it. Our story begins inside of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, not long after Obi-Wan Kenobi made contact with the Council to inform them of the terrible events on Naboo. Yoda was close with Qui-Gon. Though they did disagree on a lot, Yoda was his Grand Master after training Dooku himself. When Qui-Gon died, Yoda felt it through the Force, though he truly hoped he was wrong, until Kenobi revealed it was the truth. This news from Naboo really hurt Yoda, and now he was looking inwards, not only at himself, but at the Jedi Order as a whole. Was he doing everything possible to stop the rise of the Sith? There were many questions to answer, and Yoda realized he was being arrogant to the possibility of the darkness returning. He needed to talk to someone about this, and he knew now of the perfect person to speak with. His former Padawan, Dooku, was always warning the Council of a coming darkness, and Yoda never listened until now. Qui-Gon has paid for the Council failures with his own life. Yoda knew that the Council was taking off for the Naboo funeral shortly, so he took off to find Dooku before they leave. As Yoda moved through the temple, he soon found Yaddle hurrying to the hangar, and Yoda asked what was going on. Master Yaddle turned to Yoda, saying she has just spoke with Dooku. She fears he is going down a path of darkness. He holds the Council accountable for the death of Qui-Gon. Yoda looked down, shook his head, saying that perhaps Dooku is right. Yaddle agreed. So Yaddle urged Yoda to come with her now. Follow Dooku. Perhaps the mystery of the Sith will continue to unravel. Yoda couldn't believe Dooku was with the Sith, but he has been wrong a lot lately, so the two of them would go to the hangar just in time to follow Dooku. The two of them flew in a speeder across Coruscant, eventually coming upon the industrial sector as the sun was beginning to set. They landed the speeder on a nearby building, watching Dooku enter a hangar to a different one, and they slowly followed him inside, hiding behind a ship. And they would quickly hear Dooku speaking to a hooded man, as Dooku was clearly frustrated over the death of Qui-Gon. Then said he has done everything the Sith have asked of him. Sifo-Dyas, Kamino, the clones. And Sidious suddenly put a hand up to quiet Dooku, saying they are not alone. Sidious sensed Yoda's powerful presence, then pushed Dooku's ship with the Force, revealing the two Jedi. Yoda and Yaddle quickly stepped out, and Yoda told Dooku that this is not the way. Dooku felt genuine anger in this moment, not because Yoda was here, but just years of pent-up anger for the Council never listening to him, only to show up now after Qui-Gon was dead. And Dooku said this is the only way. The Jedi Order is ruined. It serves the corrupt and greedy politicians, while planets burn and suffer across the galaxy under the leadership of the Republic. Yaddle said that the dark side will not be any better, but Dooku said that the dark side will tear down these broken systems, replace them with ones that better serve the galaxy. Yoda would tell Dooku, his former Padawan and friend, that all can be forgiven if he brings the Sith to justice. They can fix things together. And Yoda would hold out his hand, asking Dooku to join him. Dooku hesitated, torn now between the light and the dark. Yoda's welcoming hand did something to him that he did not expect. Sidious tried goading him into staying in the dark, while Dooku could feel that Yoda was being genuine. The Grand Master wanted to help. But before Dooku could make a choice, Sidious made the choice for him. Lightning fired past Dooku and into the two Jedi, catching them off guard as they slid across the floor electrocuted. Sidious pulled out two red blades now, igniting them at once, telling Dooku this is his final test to becoming his Sith apprentice. Kill the Jedi with him. Their plans can then truly begin. And Dooku closed his eyes, igniting his blue saber for the fight. Yoda slowly stood back up, realizing that perhaps this is how he would have to correct his mistakes, by defeating them in battle. He ignited his green blade as the hooded Sith glided towards him, while Dooku moved towards Yaddle. Yoda didn't know who was under the hood, but right now, that did not matter. This was a Sith. He could not let the Sith rise from under him. Sidious would strike first, a quick flurry of aggressive attacks spinning at Yoda, but Yoda met each and every blow with remarkable agility, spinning and flipping around the Sith with moves beyond his age, as both of them were yelling out in battle. The lair was echoing with the sounds of clashing sabers, the hiss of lightning, as Sidious was unleashing bursts of it, only to have Yoda absorb and redirect them with the Force, while making sure Yaddle was okay. Dooku was moving with anger at Yaddle, striking, staying on the offensive, trying to let the darkness consume him. But Yaddle was a beacon of calm amidst the chaos of everything. Dooku's attacks were precise, infused with evil, but his strikes did lack conviction, betraying his inner conflict that Yaddle and Yoda both knew was there. Yaddle implored Dooku to feel the light, telling him that she feels the good in him, her voice serene yet firm as she told Dooku that he was right about everything, but this path will bring only pain and destruction. How many more people will have to die and suffer before his vision of peace comes to life? Dooku hesitated again, eyes flickering between Yaddle and the dark figure of Sidious battling Yoda. The dark side whispered promises of power, of a new era for the Republic led by him, but the memories of his time as a Jedi, thoughts of Qui-Gon, and how he has betrayed everything he's ever known, still tug at his conscience. And yet, he tells Yaddle that she is wrong, and that, as Yoda once told him, once one starts down the dark path, forever will it dominate one's destiny. And Yaddle was forced on the defensive once more. As Yoda and Sidious's duel intensified, they leapt around, becoming a blur of green and red, lightsabers clashing against each other with explosive energy. The other duel was much more conflicted and hesitant, but this was the strongest of the light and the dark against each other. Yoda somersaulted over Sidious, delivering a powerful force push, sending the Dark Lord falling backwards. But Sidious retaliated with a wave of lightning that Yoda was able to deflect with only a bit of trouble, eyes narrowing with determination as Sidious spun through the air once more. And as they fought, Yaddle could sense the overwhelming power as she was dodging Dooku's thrusts, countering with quick strikes, urging Dooku to feel into the Force, look to the Sith right now. She urged Dooku to sense the power radiating from the Sith, but that power does not come from compassion. It comes from the depths of evil. The Sith can never help the galaxy. They can only take it, destroy it. She told Dooku to see that siding with the Sith to remake the galaxy will not work. They think only inwards. She urged him to listen to his heart, parrying another fierce slash, telling him the dark side only leads to destruction. She was trying so desperately to breach Dooku's defenses. The teachings of Yoda and the Jedi Order now were truly clashing with the seductive power offered by Sidious, as Dooku's strikes became erratic, betraying his turmoil once more, and in his frustration, Dooku managed to knock Yaddle to the ground, now holding his saber in the air, as Yaddle closed her eyes, calling out to the Force. And the faint voice called out to Dooku, telling him to stop. Qui-Gon? And Dooku's saber dropped as he lifted Yaddle back up. He knew what he must do. Sidious, now sensing Dooku's hesitation and betrayal, yelled out at him to fulfill his destiny, strike down his true enemy. And Dooku turned to see Sidious knock away Yoda's saber. He went in for the killing stab, but Dooku yelled no, and blasted Sidious with a force push that sent him crashing into the wall. The Sith slowly stood back up, enraged by this new development. He unleashed a new torrent of Sith lightning at the Jedi, as the three of them now stood together, deflecting it away. And Yoda told Dooku that now they must come together, destroy the Sith, do what must be done. And Sidious reignited his two blades, saying he will always find a new apprentice. This final battle was powerful, but with Dooku's support, the tide began to quickly turn against Sidious. His arrogance in his own power began to fail him, as the combined might of Yoda, Yaddle, and Dooku overwhelmed the Dark Lord. Dooku locked sabers with Sidious as Yoda flipped through the air, blinding the Sith Lord with his saber. Yaddle slid between his legs, cutting into Sidious's ankles, and Sidious fell to his knees, screaming out in anger as Dooku plunged his saber into Sidious's heart. It was in this moment that Yoda and Yaddle finally saw who was under the hood, Chancellor Palpatine. And Sidious died with a sudden dark side burst, sending a giant shockwave of lightning that caused the foundation of this building to rock around as all three Jedi were thrown to the wall. In his final move, Sidious went out with a blast. The building was shaking violently, and the loud creaking only increased as it turned on its side. Dooku's ship fell out of the hangar window as the building began to crumble down to the ground. Dooku, Yaddle, and Yoda all grabbed parts of the wall, hanging on now as the building fell. Dooku looked to Yoda, and the Grand Master smiled gently before closing his eyes, creating a protection bubble with the Force. This was a power that took great energy, but Dooku saw now that after everything, Yoda still protected him. The building suddenly slammed into the ground, debris and explosions went all around them, but Dooku and Yaddle were completely protected by Yoda as they rolled away into the falling debris. As Dooku stopped himself from rolling, the sounds of collapsing buildings stopped. He looked to see Yaddle stumbling to her feet. This gave him great relief, and he turned to help Yoda. But Yoda was not quite so lucky. He did manage to protect Dooku and Yaddle in the fall, but upon landing on the ground, Yoda's back was pierced by a rusty pipe from the building. It went through his spine and out of his chest, and as Dooku ran to help, Yoda coughed up blood, smiled up at Dooku, telling him that his time has come. He is at peace with this. Dooku tried to help Yoda, but even moving him caused Yoda's pain to increase so much. Yoda told Dooku to stop, then said he truly is happy with letting go. Dooku said they can still save him, but Yoda told Dooku that guiding the change of the Jedi falls to him and Yaddle. They see what others on the council do not, what Yoda did not. And Yoda let go, dying here in the crashed building where the Sith Lord also fell. Inside of the Jedi Temple, the Council Masters never left for Naboo. They were all searching for Yoda, as he made it known that he wanted to go with them, but he'd suddenly disappeared. As Windu and Plo were searching the meditation chambers, Depa Billaba called out to them. Windu turned to the main door, where the light of the outside sun was obscuring his vision, but he quickly saw Yaddle, and next to him, Dooku was carrying someone. Windu felt a pit in his stomach as he began sprinting at them, and quickly, he saw that his worst fears had been realized. Yoda is dead. Windu asked Dooku what he has done, his voice sounding much darker than he initially intended, and Yaddle put up a hand to calm Windu, saying that Dooku led her and Yoda to the Sith Lord, and they defeated him, but not without a significant loss of their own. Windu and the others were trying to process everything going on. A Sith Lord just died on Naboo at the hands of Kenobi, and now another just died here on Coruscant? Windu knew what this meant. If the legend of the Sith was true, then they were gone once more. Always two there are. No more, no less, is what Windu was taught to be true. Ki-Adi-Mundi asked how they knew to find these Sith here, but everyone seemed to already have a grasp on that answer. But once more, Yaddle said this shall all be discussed later. For now, they have a funeral to attend to. And so they would travel to Naboo for a funeral for both Qui-Gon and Yoda together. Dooku and Yaddle would fly together, separate from the rest of the Jedi, and the two of them would discuss what is to happen next. The Jedi would have to inform the Senate about Palpatine, but Dooku told Yaddle that the Jedi must separate themselves from the Republic after that. They blindly serve a Senate that fails the people it represents, and the Jedi can do so much more by serving the people of the galaxy, not the politicians. Yaddle agreed, saying all of this would happen in due time. From here, the funeral for Qui-Gon and Yoda would happen together, and Dooku would notice during this that Obi-Wan was seated next to a scared, young boy. Dooku heard the voice of Qui-Gon, either some faint echo in the Force, or it was really him. As Qui-Gon's voice called out, "He is the Chosen One. You must see it." And Dooku quickly could feel the boy's connection to the Force. He was strong. Very strong. Over the next couple of days, the Republic and Jedi Council would be informed by Dooku of everything that Palpatine was involved with. How he's been interfering with politics as a Sith Lord since he was young, working with Hago Damask to fund and create a clone army on Kamino, then killing Damask. How Palpatine convinced Sifo-Dyas to help him with the creation of the clones under a Jedi name, then killed Sifo-Dyas as well. In reality, Dooku was the one that killed him, but Dooku decided that did not need to be revealed in the full truth right now. And Dooku said he learned of this Sith by infiltrating the Republic politics, so he got in liege with him, only to betray him upon learning that Palpatine only craved power for himself, not to help the people. The Senate was shocked by this, but they had to quickly move on. Many senators were upset with the Jedi for handling this without Senate approval or aid, and Dooku was actually happy about this. He and Yaddle would urge the Jedi Council to separate from the Republic. It is a corrupt system that even the Sith can infiltrate and rise to power in. It's time for the Jedi to start fresh, go back to their old ways, away from the greedy politicians. Without Yoda, the main masters in charge were Windu, Mundi, and Apo Rancis. These discussions would span many days, but ultimately the Jedi would leave Coruscant and the Republic, going back to Tython. Tython was the home of the first great Jedi temple, and it was a planet surrounded by the light side of the Force. It was serene, calm, lush with life, perfect for the Jedi to find themselves in, and Dooku would slowly reintegrate into the Order, soon speaking with Obi-Wan, asking about Anakin Skywalker. And Obi-Wan would reveal everything about Anakin, remarking that he does not know if he is truly ready to train this potential chosen one, but he did make a promise to Qui-Gon. Dooku admired Obi-Wan for willing to honor Qui-Gon like this, so Dooku would offer something. What if they trained Anakin together? Obi-Wan would sit silently for a moment, then said he would quite like that. He'd never met Dooku before, but Qui-Gon would tell Obi-Wan many stories about how great Dooku was. He was very similar to Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan knew this could be great for Anakin. The two of them would form a strong bond with Anakin as they began training him through the years. Obi-Wan was like a brother to him, while Dooku was like an older father, and they both really helped guide Anakin along the way. And after spreading into Tython instead of Coruscant, the Jedi looked inward on how to fix themselves. They decided to focus on the people who do not have the Republic to aid them. While the clone army was shut down, the Republic did now offer a voluntary military program to protect its people after learning that a Sith became Chancellor. So the people of the Mid and the Outer Rim still needed help, and that is where the Jedi would come in. Over the years, the Jedi would get into countless skirmishes, and soon what would be called the Jedi vs. Syndicate War. The Jedi, led heavily by Dooku, Kenobi, and Skywalker, would focus heavily on ending slavery, and the crime syndicates did not like this. They would band together, taking on the Jedi. Through the years, the Jedi would fight with each other in battle versus these syndicates, which were eventually led by Maul and Savage, as Mother Talzin of Dathomir was convinced to let her people work with these criminals, or Dathomir could suffer. Maul and Savage would initially be a force to be reckoned with, but the Jedi were stronger than ever at this point, and soon the people of the Outer Rim began to form their own sort of military, a rebellion of sorts. They were tired of suffering under the terrible rule of those like Jabba the Hutt or the Pikes, and with the help and hope of the Jedi, the people would unite together, pushing back the Syndicate armies. When the war reached its climax, Anakin Skywalker was around 20 years old. He and Kenobi confronted Maul and Savage. By this point, Anakin was a Jedi Knight, and Dooku was well past his fighting prime, so he mostly stayed in the temple to guide younger Jedi. Had he stayed in the dark side, he may still be a great fighter, but in the light, he took this time to retire and be more of a guide. Anakin and Obi-Wan were an elite duo, the best of the best in the Order, and together the two of them would fight and defeat both Maul and Savage on Felucia. This was a cruel planet, and it was a planet that the Syndicates lost their two main leaders on, and from here, they would begin to fall apart as the people of the Outer Rim rallied against them. Anakin would go on to train Ahsoka Tano, using the teachings of Dooku and Kenobi. The two of them did an excellent job balancing both the Jedi code and also letting Anakin be himself, acknowledging his feelings. Anakin had to learn to understand the dark side and why the temptations of it are not to be given into, and so Dooku was a great master for this. And in the end, through the years, the Jedi rebuilt to be better than before, led by Dooku, Kenobi, Windu, others, and Skywalker as well through the years. There was always conflict with Dooku and the other masters, but at this point, Grand Master Windu learned that conflict was not always bad. Without conflict and disagreement, Jedi could break off like Dooku once did. So the Order would embrace different ways of thinking, and the ghosts of Qui-Gon and Yoda watched on with satisfaction. And folks, that is our story for today. I love doing Dooku stories. I think I've done a few of them lately, or a lot of them, but I really just genuinely in love writing about Dooku. It's like Anakin a little bit, but just older, wiser, lost in his ways, thinking that the dark side is the only way. So I like taking him down the path, and having Yoda be the one to kind of turn him was good, because obviously Yoda trained him, and it kind of takes Yoda seeing the years, decades, centuries of mistakes by the Jedi, just kind of deciding to stop them, or just decide that, seeing Dooku turn was his best way of saying or seeing that he's fallen so far from what the Jedi should be, along with, of course, Qui-Gon dying. So, really wanted to go down that path with Yoda. I did want to have him die just to have Dooku, you can't let him get off completely scot-free with turning on Palpatine. Someone had to die. I considered it to be Yaddle, but we see that in Tales, and I wanted Yaddle to have a bit of a prominent role after the whole battle and building collapse, just helping Windu and the Council kind of calm down about Dooku. So yeah, we had Yoda die, getting him falling and stabbed by a rusty pipe. Sorry, he saved the other two Jedi, so had to do it to him. Overall, Anakin ends up being trained with Obi-Wan and Dooku. Never really meets with Padme in this. Maybe he does a little bit after this, but yeah, just on Tython. Doesn't really have time for all that. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. Lightsaber giveaway yesterday was good. If you didn't see the winner, you'll be getting an email from Onasaber. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on Thursday or Friday. Depends on if I'm busy Thursday. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.